This is your main man RJ from the Ringside Rant, heard only on the Visionaries Wrestling Network. So go over and subscribe across all your major platforms, iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Stitcher to hear every great interview I have every Monday on the Visionaries Wrestling Network. Go over and follow the show's page on Twitter @_Ringside Rant. Follow the network's page @BizWrestleNet. And, as always, embrace the vision.
Hello, friends. This is Spencer Love, your host of Over the Top Rope on the Win Column Sports Network. Don't forget you can head to wincolumnsports.ca for all of your previews, reviews, and breaking news from the world of wrestling, be it your major promotions or from the great province of Alberta, Canada.
If you like podcasts and you are listening to them on Backbreaker Media, then you should listen to me, Chris Parrish,
and myself, Manoia,
and the Sounds of Struggle, because we are literally the most entertaining duo you'll ever come across in Western Canadian wrestling, baby.
We talk about things like wrestling
and other sports we like.
Wrestling.
But we won't talk about other sports that we don't like, because it's not that kind of podcast.
Like wrestling.
I mean, we like hockey.
And wrestling.
And we like football.
And wrestling.
And we also like to drink beer.
While wrestling.
Well, not while wrestling, but while watching wrestling.
Yes.
Yeah. If you want to get into a conversation with Maniac and Chris Parrish, then you need to tune into the Sounds of Struggle live on Backbreaker Media.
Every Thursday.
It's when we hope to drop, but sometimes Mike Malowany doesn't do his job right.
Or we're too drunk to forget.
Yeah, that happens too.
Yeah.
He can bleep out the swear word, because we weren't supposed to do that.
Oh,
but
I'll try not to swear. I can't do it.
Yeah. Let's face it, the two of us, we're real.
And spectacular.
And we're a little bit of all right.
Yeah.
We're also strugglicious.
That we are.
That was kind of the key. We're supposed to do strugglicious.
Oh, sorry, I'm drunk.
Yeah. So, if you don't want to listen to us, then no. You're stupid, because we're entertaining. And if you want to listen to us, then, come listen to us on Backbreaker Media.
Yeah. What he said.
Later, bitches.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Quick Calls for the Lakeland Pro Wrestling Chapter 1 show from the Beaver River Fish and Game Association Hall in Bonnyville, Alberta. This is Mike the Ref, just broadcasting here from Backbreaker Media Studios in Edmonton. The audio from last night's show was a little bit off and a little bit loud, so I just decided it might be better to come back and re-record the show today, or this will be Sunday, so get a little bit of a feel, get a little bit of a vibe, get a little settled down as to the fallout from last night's Chapter 1 show in Bonnyville. My first impressions of being at the show, I went down there to film it as part of Backbreaker Media's VOD program. I'll be completely honest, the setup there was actually really good setup. They did something a little different. Instead of a barricade, they had tables on the outside with those tables being sold at a little higher cost than the regular seats, but you also got bar service and waitress service at your seat at the tables there. So a really different idea, but it seemed to be very effective because all those seats were full and the fans seemed to really enjoy it. I enjoyed my time out there. The aesthetics were really good. Got to work a little bit on the lighting, but I will work on that with them. Just seemed the lights were set up opposite of what they should have been in terms of the corners. Might have been a little tough for the fans to watch some of the action going across the ring, but let's face it, when it comes to a show, you go there for the action and you go to see good wrestling, and that delivered tonight. For the most part, the entire card was based on CWC and a few RCW members. One RCW match in particular, and then the rest was pretty much CWC wrestlers throughout. But it was definitely a good show. But let's get into what happened here at the Chapter 1 for Lakeland Pro Wrestling. Right off the bat, you had the mayor of Bonnyville coming into the ring to do a sort of an unofficial ribbon cutting ceremony. They set up a streamer across the middle rope on one side of the ring here so that the mayor could officially cut the ribbon on this new promotion being started. And lo and behold, the callus on the rear end of CWC, Pride and Envy, decide to come out, thinking they're the show, they're the most important part of the show. Pride gets in there and just starts beaking off to the mayor, starts pushing the mayor, and the mayor just, he ain't having none of that, shoves him down and pretty much shoves him right out of the ring. Now, the mayor currently is joined by Adam Sky, the newest member of Alberta Wrestling. So Adam gets on the mic and he just says, Pride, if you're so good, if you're the main event, why don't we put up the Alberta title on the line? Being that I'm in town, I'm sort of a representative. I can talk to the CWC head office if need be. There wasn't any need to. CWC has full confidence in their athletes in defending their belts wherever they go. So the title was put on the line in the triple threat between Jude Dawkins, Pride, and Adam Sky in the main event. So great way to kick off the show. Fans getting a little excited. And the mayor got a nice little shove in there. So, but then Mr. 493 in the PWI 500, Chris Parrish, comes out for our opening contest and gets on the mic and starts trashing Bonnyville. Pretty much your standard fare for trash talk, giving them the gears about how bad Bonnyville is and whatnot, and the fans are just eating it up. And Parrish simply asks the current commissioner for the evening if he is such a good wrestler and he's put on the front of the poster, why isn't he in the main event for the Alberta title? So, Commish, smart man, says if you win your match against Lumberjack Larry Woods, you will end up getting into the main event and have a shot at that Alberta championship. So, Parrish smart enough to get himself into a title match, and it ends up being that we're going to have a very good contest with some extensive ratifications here based on if Parrish can win here. So, all right, so for our opening contest, we had Chris Parrish taking on Lumberjack Larry Woods. Now, for those that have been familiar with CWC and MPW, know that these two know each other very well from their past interactions, for lack of a better term. Their previous matches. This match over here was your very standard fare in terms of wrestling. Both guys feeling each other out, creating a great atmosphere in there. The turning point in the match was when Woods went into his log roll. Then he was going to go up to the top rope to finish off Parrish. Parrish rolled out of the way. Eventually, Woods gets in there, grabs him, puts him into the saw line, basically his bear hug into a ripcord clothesline. Missed the clothesline and almost took out the referee. With the temporary distraction, Parrish manages to roll up Woods and then get 2 feet on the ropes, similar to a Valentine cover for the 1-2-3 victory. Referee Smalls didn't see the feet on the ropes, and Parrish moves on, and he is going to be part of the main event, which now becomes a fatal four-way for the Alberta Championship. Next on the docket, we had the Real Canadian Wrestling contribution to this show tonight. We had Simply Epic Eddie Rude come out and once again do the trashing of the town of Bonnyville idea. He actually got a pretty good pop coming out as a good guy, but then all of a sudden it turned pretty quick. Immediately following that was the introduction of Steven Styles, who got introduced as the third opponent, which, sometimes they screw up stuff like that, whether the wrestlers change it or whether things get changed and not told. So, minor thing, but it looked like Styles was a little pissed about that. And then they were taking on a newcomer in the Canadian Goose. This gentleman looked like he just got pulled from the Ugly Duckling scenario and is in the ring. I believe it's his first time in a ring in a match. It had definitely showed. I'm sorry, I got to call a spade here. That Goose got plucked early and often in this matchup here. I don't know if he really needed to be in the ring. I try to be positive about stuff, but he just looked so timid, scared, and unprepared. I don't know whether this was a last-minute change or not to the docket, but you had Steven Styles in there just beating the crap out of both of them and getting the crowd into it big time. People on this network know that at times I am a little critical of Steven Styles' matches. While I'm not going to say the work rate was great between the Goose and Styles in this matchup, I will say this. Styles had a way of getting the crowd going just merely because of his mouth. But by the time this match was done, the crowd was completely into this show. So I got to give him props for that. And then Eddie Rude, honestly, with these two, he should have been able to dominate, and he actually did dominate throughout most of this matchup here. The turning point in this match was when Rude managed to get Styles out of the ring, thanks to a drop kick in the back. Ends up eye-raking the Canadian Goose, getting him up for that Argentine backbreaker, his version of a rude awakening. The Goose goes down like a thud, heads south for the winter, and Rude ends up getting the 1-2-3 victory. All in all, a serviceable match. Rude looked great. Styles looked like Styles, and the Goose looked like he was getting cooked. So, enough said about that. Let's move on here to our next matchup. And this was the ladies' division matchup of the evening with Envy, who we saw earlier, taking on one of the newcomers to Alberta Wrestling, the prototype Alex Zwicker. Alex looks like she's in absolutely fantastic shape. Same with Envy. These two here, this is their first one-on-one contest with each other. And it looked a little shaky at the start with the fact that they were just trying to assess each other, feel each other out like you would see in a typical match with first-time competitors. But as the match developed, you got to see the two different styles become a little more prevalent. You had Envy with her cunning and her lower body work working over Alex with variations of her cloverleaf and the different submissions that she was trying to put on, as well as the kicks. Envy tried to go with some up kicks to a completely prone Alex around three different sides of the ring here. Two of the three ended up being perfectly executed. The third one, Envy missed, and in a tremendous feat of strength, you had Alex picking up Envy and just hauling her around like a sack of potatoes, asking the crowd who wants her to drop the envy of all of us out in the stands to be devoured by the fans. Pride gets in there to break up all this little conundrum, confusion, and conniptionness. Some other highlights of the match, Alex showing her agility as well with going for a somersault X Factor, I think would be the best way to explain it. Does a rolling attack into Envy and then just straight out kicks her and hits her with that face first Bella Buster, X Factor, whichever way you want to call it. Drives her face head first into the mat. Thought that was going to be the victory, but then once again, Pride gets his little nose involved in those stubby arms of his out there. Alex goes out to confront Pride, but she won't hit him. On behalf of all of us here in Alberta Wrestling, please feel free to hit the son of a... Never mind. Alex gets back in the ring. Pride gets up on the ring apron to try to distract once again. And we've seen this before. This is what took out Cherry Doll the last time that Envy and Cherry Doll went one-on-one. The distraction, Envy setting up for the super kick. Envy ends up missing the super kick. Alex gets out of the way. Schoolgirls Envy up, gets her up and hits her with that sick DDT finisher for the victory and the win for Alex Zwicker. Tremendous match from both these ladies. Went about 15 minutes here and absolutely killed it in the ring. But then after the match, the Spoil Sports of CWC, I guess I'm going to come up with a few more descriptions for them. Envy and Pride ended up beating down Alex, including that wicked super kick out of Envy, who is pretty much taking out anybody and everybody that gets hit with it. Knocking Alex out of ringside, and they basically dragged her out by her arms. One had one arm each and just literally dragged Alex all the way out of the building. So I hope Alex is okay. I wasn't able to find her after the show, so hopefully she's in one piece and not tied up and hidden somewhere. So, but then from there we go to intermission. Very loud and boisterous crowd. Merchandise table was filling up like crazy with young kids picking up. One of the hottest items right now is luchador masks that have been presented by. It seems like that's something that should be on the Christmas list for a lot of young wrestling fans. So if parents are listening to this, that might be an idea for you. But then coming back after intermission, we had the open challenge for the CWC Tag Team Championships with the Wrecking Crew of Dean Richter and Sean Martins calling out any team that wanted to show up and challenge them for their titles. Now, folks, I've been covering wrestling now, and it's just 2 months shy of 4 years I've been covering independent wrestling in Edmonton and Northern Alberta. I think this would have been team number 728 on my list of teams that would be coming out. Coming off a 6-month hiatus from Alberta Wrestling is Mystic. And teaming up with Mystic is somebody who has been gone, I would have to say, about 1.5 years. The returning El Diablo. Now, I don't like to put too many shameless plugs in the middle of a show for my video on demand channel. But if you want to see what Diablo is all about, the one match you got to see, go on to backbreakervod.pivotshare.com, sign up, and Retribution 8, which happened 3 years ago this November. It was a dual-branded ladder match between Diablo and Chris Parrish that honestly, to me, was probably the top ladder match that I've seen independent wrestling throughout Western Canada here, as long as I've been covering it. So, but I was thinking at the start of this match, okay, you got Diablo, you got Mystic. The Wrecking Crew should run right over him because these guys haven't been in a ring in a while. My God, was I mistaken. Diablo, frankly, looked like he didn't miss a beat in this match. It looked like he'd been going nonstop. I know I talked to him a little bit after the show. He hasn't been wrestling. He's been taking some time off to take care of, the little devils and whatnot. So all the power to him in that. But watching him in the ring, you couldn't tell. And that's probably the biggest compliment you can give a wrestler when he comes back, is the fact you couldn't tell he was really gone because he was that good. Topped that off with the high-flying antics of Mystic, who ended up hitting an amazing 450 splash onto Sean Martins near the end of the match, where I thought that was going to be a guaranteed title switch. Was absolutely fantastic. But Richter manages to come in for the save. And then basically the follow of the match, Mystic got caught in the ring with the Wrecking Crew as Diablo got dumped to the outside, thanks to a roaring elbow from Dean Richter to the back of the head of Diablo. Setting up, hits the car wreck on Mystic. 1, 2, 3. The champs retain the titles. I know that a lot of people get on Richter for being quote-unquote Dorito Dan. That was a joke from the summer, folks, and I'm glad that's over for a lot of people. And then, of course, talking about the headline Sean Martins having to have Wrath on his side here in MPW and always having to have backup. These two here, as a tag team, I would put up against most tag teams throughout Western Canada here. They're not the flashy go-getters. They do remind me of the Revival quite a bit in the fact that they're pure mechanics in the ring. I know I bring that up in commentary all the time, but these guys know how to work as a team, super effective, and there's a reason why they are, for 11 months now, the CWC Tag Team Champions. Fantastic job in this match by all four competitors. This will be the match of the night once I get through the card here. But then going on to the main event. Main event, fatal four-way match for the Alberta Championship. You had the Champion Pride accompanied by Envy again. Taking on the Cheetah Bear Jude Dawkins, taking on Chris Parrish, taking on Adam Sky. Full disclosure here, folks, I haven't had a chance to do enough research on Adam Sky to get any background going into this show, but I was really impressed with what he was doing in the ring there. He's got the power. The beginning of this match ended up being a slam contest that I'm pretty sure Blysa Samarsova is a little disappointed he missed out on. There ended up being a 10 count of body slams to start off this match from Sky and Dawkins on Parrish. And if you guys get a chance, check out the VOD just from the comments from Parrish every time he got slammed. For me, that's the reason why he's in the PWI 500. One of the 500 best wrestlers on the planet right now. It's just living proof of it's all in the details and all in the description on what makes you a good wrestler. So we started out with that, and then Parrish and Pride tried to go with suplexes for the 10 count, but since these two could get along oh so well, and yes, I'm being sarcastic, that these two couldn't get, I believe it was 2, 3, or 4 suplexes in without trying to go for a cover and basically steal each other's thunder in this situation here. So you never had one man really getting an advantage over any of the others at this point. The turning point of this match was when Parrish ended up on the outside. Adam Sky went to follow. Parrish caught him and then tried to get his parachute on apron, one of his finishers, onto Sky on the side of the apron there. Jude comes in with a hard tackle and sends Parrish flying to the outside. But not to be outdone, Dawkins charges up and it takes a suicide dive to the outside, taking out Parrish. But as he's getting up, once again, Envy sticks her nose in there, and more appropriately, her foot in Dawkins' mouth and knocking him out with a super kick. So that's going to leave Adam Sky and Pride in the ring. Temporary distraction to the referee, low blow by Pride, rolls up schoolboy style. Adam Sky, 1-2, Sky kicks out, and the place is going nuts. So Pride's have enough. He's going to get his belt. He's going to use the belt to take a shot on Sky. Adam Sky manages to hit a move. I do believe he calls it a high five. It's essentially a thrust punch or a thrust hand to the face. I thought Pride was knocked out. 1-2, he kicks out. But then all of a sudden, you got Adam Sky with the momentum, and then sets up. Basically, it was a got him held up, sort of like for a front slam, but turns it into a face buster, twisting face buster into the canvas. And I'm certain that Adam Sky was going to win the title there if it wasn't once again for Envy pulling Adam Sky off the cover. Sky has enough, gets outside, starts chasing around the ring after Envy to the point where I had to book it as I was the cameraman for this. Sky gets caught going into the ring and gets caught with the belt shot across the face. 1, 2, 3, and Pride retains his Alberta Championship. Fantastic main event, fantastic match, but once again, Pride can't win it by himself. It's shocking that, he's held this title as long as he has, when he always needs help to get that, to maintain that title. So, but nothing to sell any of the other three competitors short in this matchup. Dawkins, Parrish, hell of a train wrestlers you've seen many times, and Adam Sky for a debut in Alberta. It was definitely a high quality match on his part. So. But it's time to get to our highlights of the night and surprise of the night. And it's one of these weird situations where both are going to apply to the same match. The highlight of the night was that tag team title match between the Wrecking Crew and the High Flyers, Mystic and El Diablo. That match was a technical masterpiece. I want to give an honorable shout out to the women's match that really turned into a solid match. Following the early parts of it where they were feeling each other out. But yeah, that middle part of the card was absolutely excellent. But then my surprise of the night, it had to be the return of Diablo. With all due respect to Mystic and his amazing 450 splash, seeing Diablo get in the ring when I wasn't expecting him here and to perform at the level that he did, I'm telling CWC right now, I'm telling PPW, MPW, RCW, anybody, book this guy. From what I've been told after the show, talking with Diablo, he's got to go back to Eldorado, Saskatchewan. That's where he currently lives. He'll be around, I believe, for the next 4 months in the area. If anybody wants him, they should get on him now because... man, the talent that he showed in the ring here tonight, absolutely spectacular. But overall, speaking of spectacular, this show went really well. Pre-ticket sales, they were a little worried about being a little low, but there was a ton of walk-in and a huge crowd that showed up at this event. They actually did run out of chairs by intermission time. People were actually standing in behind. Great crowd, great action. You're going to see the video up in a couple weeks here on Backbreaker VOD. I believe that Win Column Sports Spencer Love will be working on the call with me on the commentary for the show, so that's going to be a great opportunity to pick his brain and see what it's like to have two wrestling fans calling a show. Should be very interesting. So, But that's going to wrap it up here for this edition of Quick Calls. We got a very busy week coming up on the network here, starting with Monday with Monday Night Shaw with RCW ring announcer Kyle Shaw as he interviews probably, I would say, in terms of scary interviews, this might be the second scariest interview I'll ever have. I'll have to edit, sorry. With the Newfoundland Viking Rage, Vince Austin, Andrew Hawks, and Gunnar, the trio of terror from Newfoundland. The men that haven't found a door they haven't wanted to break, so I can't wait for you guys to hear it. Let's put it that way. And then next week, Total Nonstop Anarchy. They're on the route to the asylum. Thursdays are the Sounds of Struggle with Chris Parrish and Maniac. Fridays are the Double Down Podcast with KJ. I do believe I'm on again this week with her. And then our next quick calls are going to be coming up this Saturday with the RCW Rise of Legends tour. I believe I'm going to have Kyle Shaw covering the show from Calgary. And myself, Andre C., the whole gang will be there to cover the Edmonton show featuring former WCW superstar, the Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan. Sullivan and Styles, folks. This is going to be a match that, let's just say it's going to be a very interesting match for me to describe for you guys. So I just have that feeling here. So. And then on top of that, we have the Legend Presents from the second row coming up. I don't know what he's got on deck, but after the big announcement that he's on WrestlingPOV.com now, that's going to be a big coup for him and a big coup for us. So, plus I got some other surprises, of course, folks, but I don't think you wanted to listen to 5 minutes of advertising what's going on with the network. You know where to check us out. Check us out on all the podcast sites, Twitter, Facebook. It's all in the show notes. And remember, backbreakervod.pivotshare.com. You can catch everything for $5.99 a month. Over 180 hours of content right now. And as well, check out powerslam.tv. If you want even more coverage from all across the world, you got 70, well, including us, we got about 80 promotions in there, over 2,000 hours of content for $6. You can't go wrong with that. So, but I think that's going to wrap it up here from Backbreaker Media headquarters. So just remember, folks, if you're going to make a good call, make a quick call. And this has been Quick Calls covering Lakeland Pro Wrestling Chapter 1 from Bonnyville, Alberta, here on Backbreaker Media.